The diplomatic chamber aboard the Xyrathi warship hummed with tension thick enough to choke on. Sergeant Cole Rayner stood at parade rest, his dress uniform crisp despite 3 days of travel through slipspace. Around him, the assembled representatives of 14 alien species watched with expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed contempt. Humanity was the newest applicant to the Galactic Concordance, and the evaluation process had been creative. Ambassador Velthar, a towering insectoid from the Xyrathi Dominion, clicked his mandibles in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Sergeant Rayner," he began, his translator rendering the chittering sounds into flat mechanical English. "Your species claims worthiness to join our alliance. You claim strength, resilience, adaptability." He paused, compound eyes glittering. "We have heard such claims before. From species now extinct." Cole didn't flinch. He'd been briefed on this. The Concordance didn't accept members based on technology or diplomacy alone. They wanted to know if a species could survive, if they could fight, if they could face the horrors lurking in the dark spaces between stars and not break. "The Concordance has a tradition," Velthar continued. "Each species brings forth their apex predator, the creature at the top of their evolutionary chain, the thing that shaped them into survivors." He gestured to the chamber's far wall where a massive containment field shimmered. "We shall bring forth ours. Let us see how your kind responds to true terror." Cole's jaw tightened. Behind him, the human diplomatic team shifted nervously. They'd been warned this might happen, but warnings didn't prepare you for reality. The containment field flickered and died. What emerged made several of the alien observers recoil. Krathul moved like liquid shadow given form, 12 feet of corded muscle covered in chitinous plates that seemed to absorb light. 6 limbs ending in scythe-like claws, a head dominated by a mouth that split vertically and horizontally, revealing rows of crystalline teeth that could shear through starship hull plating. Its sensory tendrils tasted the air, and its eyes, all 8 of them, fixed on the closest living thing. Cole. The chamber fell silent, except for the creature's breathing, which sounded like hydraulics venting pressure. Krathul had been bred over millennia to be perfect. It could survive in vacuum, regenerate from catastrophic wounds, and possessed an intelligence just shy of sapience. The Xyrathi had used creatures like it to conquer 17 star systems before joining the Concordance. "In our history," Velthar said softly, "Krathul's ancestors hunted my people across the burning deserts of our homeworld. They stalked us through the dark. They learned our patterns. They taught us to fear the night." His voice carried a note of pride. "They made us strong." Krathul took a step forward, then another. Its claws scraped against the metal deck plating, leaving grooves. It was programmed not to kill, but the aliens wanted to see panic. Wanted to see Cole break and run like every other species had when confronted with their first true apex predator from another world. Cole didn't move. He'd grown up in the Australian outback, where saltwater crocodiles lurked in every waterhole and funnel web spiders nested in your boots. He'd served in the Amazon, where jaguars moved like ghosts and anacondas could swallow a man whole. He'd done a tour in the Arctic, where polar bears, creatures that actively hunted humans, roamed the ice. Earth had apex predators on every continent, in every ocean. Some hunted in packs, some hunted alone. Some used venom, others used teeth, still others used sheer mass and rage. And humanity had looked at every single one and said, "I can take it." Krathul approached within 5 feet. Its sensory tendrils extended, tasting Cole's scent. Reading his biochemistry, the creature had expected the chemical signature of fear. Hormones, pheromones, the involuntary responses that all prey species exhibited. It found none. What it found instead made it hesitate. Cole's heart rate was elevated, yes, but steady, combat ready. His muscles were tensed not in preparation for flight, but for fight. His eyes tracked the creature's movement with the cold calculation of someone assessing threat vectors and weak points. And there was something else. Something in the depths of Cole's scent that Krathul's ancient instincts recognized. The creature had been an apex predator for 10 million years. It knew the smell of something higher on the food chain. It had never smelled it before, but it knew. Cole raised one hand slowly, palm out. Not in surrender, in greeting. "Easy there, big guy," he said softly. "Nobody needs to get hurt today." Krathul's sensory tendrils retracted slightly. Its claws, which had been extended for a killing strike, folded back against its limbs. The creature's 8 eyes studied this strange, soft-skinned biped who stood before an apex predator and showed not fear, but calm. Then Krathul did something it had never done in 300 years of ceremonial evaluations. It took a step backward. The chamber erupted in chittering, hooting, and the various sounds of alien shock. Ambassador Velthar's mandibles hung slack. Impossible, he breathed. But Cole understood. He'd seen it in the eyes of every predator he'd ever faced. Recognition. The moment when a predator realized it wasn't looking at prey, it was looking at competition. Or worse, at something that had evolved beyond the simple calculus of predator and prey into something far more dangerous. A persistence hunter. A tool user. A species that didn't just survive its apex predators. It had systematically conquered every one of them. Krathul took another step back, its posture shifting from aggressive to defensive. Then, in a gesture that would be debated by xenobiologists for decades, the creature moved behind Cole and stopped. It didn't cower exactly, but it recognized safety when it found it. The human marine who apparently sat higher on the food chain than the galaxy's nightmares, Ambassador Velthar finally found his voice. In 3 centuries, he said slowly, Krathul has never retreated, never shown deference, his compound eyes fixed on Cole. What are you? Cole allowed himself a small smile. Just a guy from a planet where the spiders are venomous. The snakes are venomous, the fish are venomous, the mammals will kill you, the birds will kill you, the plants will kill you, and the weather will definitely kill you. He glanced back at Krathul, who stood perfectly still behind him. We learned to get along with worse than this before we invented fire. The chamber remained silent as that sank in. Earth hadn't produced one apex predator. It had produced dozens, hundreds. And into that crucible of tooth and claw and venom humanity had been born, not as the strongest, not as the fastest, but as the species that simply refused to die. Ambassador Velthar's mandibles clicked in what might have been a laugh or a sob. Your application, he said finally, is approved. Welcome to the Concordance, Sergeant Rayner. He paused. And may the stars have mercy on anyone who makes an enemy of Earth. Cole nodded. Behind him, Krathul's sensory tendrils brushed his shoulder, tentative, almost gentle. Even monsters recognized an alpha when they met one.